Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Let's Build NT. Coming to you right here, my name is Zwaxor from the new client of Soulforge. This is just after free mode has ended. It's been about 15 minutes since that happened. And we are going to build the deck that I took to a Titanium ranking just like 6 hours ago or something. Like before the whole free mode thing ended. So, it's quite close to what I had before. It's still based on the whole Xerxes Patron of Varna engine. At least I think that's what it's called. Yep, no, Tarsus, whatever. Oh shit, not Patron of Tarsus. That's not something we use. This time though, we are going to include 2 copies of Zarox, because in testing with my Utera Necrium Brood Queen deck, which I took to Platinum 3 or something like that, I was running 5 Necrium cards in my otherwise mono Utera deck, and Patron of Deepwood worked just fine. So I've upped the Tempest count to 5 cards for this particular deck. Also, another key thing that's happened since last time is that I have included Ebonbound Warlord, because something I noticed with the old deck was that it needed more good underdrops. Because the thing is that this deck has no free plays, no token generation, no grow-wide aspect whatsoever, so it needs to make good plays at every level as every play. Also, because of what the meta currently looks like, I've decided not to include Leyline Demon in the deck, because that simply didn't really do enough. That's 28 cards. Last ones are, because free mode ended, it deleted most of my deck lists, so just checking what was I missing. I'm missing a 2 of. Well, let's see. Well, let's just search Necrium Tempest and see if we can find it, because I can't seem to remember. None of these, none of these, none of these. Not Duskmoth still, because once again, this deck is so reliant on making good plays at every part of the game that... Oh, right, Varna. And of course it's showing cards from every set entitled something with Varna. Okay, there we go. And last time it was named Teenage Mutant Ninja Necrium Tempest. Oh, Teenage Mutant Necrium Tempest, which I think is a pretty good pun. TMNT. So we're just gonna call it that. And this is what it looks like. Now again, Patron of Tarsus is one of the most powerful cards in Soulforge right now. Total, and Ignir as well. And so in order to make both of those cards work, we are mostly Necrium. Grimgaunt Devourer still incredibly powerful. Death Current Spiritcleave, 2 very important cards for this kind of deck. Great underdrops, great value at every level. Ebonskull Knight, just still the best body you can have in this faction combination. And Xerxes, of course, just an amazing threat against any grow-wide sort of deck, which is basically what we want to run into. The reason I switched from the grow-wide Brood Queen deck was to this when I was ranking up during free mode, was actually that I was seeing a lot of mirrors. And my particular build of the Utera grow-wide deck wasn't especially well suited to handle matchups like that. So we're playing our first match against CTNC. Yeah, it was not very well prepared, equipped to handle mirrors, because they were usually playing that overload spell that gives all the Utera creatures you play +1/+1, and I wasn't. So basically their creatures were usually bigger, and the one play they spent on doing it was not generally an issue because of cards like Patron of Deepwood. Okay, so we're against the leveling deck here. This is not what we want to see, because generally this is one of our good matchups. The meta currently is very sort of rock, paper, scissors, in that there are the removal decks, there are the leveling decks, and there are the grow-wide decks. And the removal decks beat the grow-wide decks, the grow-wide decks beat the leveling decks, and the leveling decks generally tend to beat the removal decks. So what we're generally hoping to do here is just to race them, basically. And possibly even use cards like Death Current and especially Spiritcleave to handle their threats if we don't manage to kill them before they can get them online. Yeah, see, this is not a good situation for us right now. We're definitely leveling our other Zarox, because that is just a strong threat no matter what. And it is my namesake card, so let's just keep it like that. And we're going to play Xerxes just to level more threats and hold back on the Death Current cards for now. What we're seeing here so far is a Necrium Aloin leveling deck with an overload aspect, likely. So, and he's also playing Circe. Well, this is gonna go well for us because we can just play double Patron of Tarsus. Eat this guy, eat this guy. And of course, something to keep in mind, because before, generally, this deck did not have to mind where it played its, in which lane it played its creatures at any point, because of how the meta was structured, so that something being adjacent to something else generally didn't matter, or being in the middle or the side lane or whatever. But now with things like formation, with the new, can't remember what it's called, the leveling dude, the 6/6, that formation at level 1, levels 1 card in your hand, formation level 2, levels every card in your hand, discards at both times, and formation level 3 just levels up and keeps every card in your hand. So what we're generally going to want to do here is, yes, just sort of try to stay alive while all this crap happens. Okay, so he does that. That is fine. We're going to level another patron here, because those don't do much under-leveled. And then battle, and then play our Varna in front of his guy to bring back our patron. Varna is also a great card to have at level 4 against a deck like this, because it just straight up kills anything. And it's not as much of a loss of value when you just run it out early game, because they generally won't be putting as much pressure on you as many other decks. He's also on the leveling patrons plan, which is much better for him than it is for me, because again, he is the defensive deck here. Oh, that is very good. Well, what we can hope to do here is just draw another patron soon. This Zarox is going to be pretty huge, so let's hope that it won't. Let's battle, and then place our Xerxes in a blocking position, so that even a good Death Current will still, good Death Current meaning one that hits our Zarox, will still keep us ahead. Another good thing about playing Zarox in a spot like this is that you, before, playing Grimgaunt into Patron would not trigger Patron if you have an Ignir in hand, like a Tempest card, but you can play Zarox first without any fear, as long as the rest of your hand is Necrium, because he is the Tempest card. The main problem that Zarox has, that Ignir does, that, like for example here, we don't need 2 patrons, because we would not be able to trigger both of them anyway. So we actually just get to put 3 triggers on our Zarox and bash with the other one, and that's that. But the general problem with Zarox that Zarox has, that Grimgaunt Devourer does not, is that Zarox doesn't grow in health. So a double block on Zarox will actually kill it eventually. Now to finish this thought on positioning, like lane plays, it wasn't as much of an issue before. It is now, because there are a lot of Utera decks running Patron of Deepwood, which means that can only put a copy in an adjacent space. Here we're going to level Warlord and discard Death Current. I wish it actually made sense to play it, but it doesn't. But yeah, we're going to want that later in the game. So, also Chaos Twister, the new burn spell that deals 6/8/10 damage to a creature, and if it is in formation, i.e. if it has a creature on either side, it will deal 6/8/10 damage to both of those creatures as well. So meaning that you should generally try to avoid having 3 creatures side by side, use the side lanes and things like that. Okay, so here we are going to... We could play the Warlord just to have a better board, but we're actually going to level a Spiritcleave because we have not leveled any of those, and we will need it come Iron Maiden from our opponent. So we currently have 2 removal spells that can actually handle that card. And we did not draw our level 2 Varna yet. We do now, as we see here, which is quite important. Though I don't believe I saw my opponent actually play his Iron Maiden. So he might have had to skip it to make better plays. No, never mind. It's right there. It's right there. Okay, so what we do here is we play Zarox in an off lane, and then we use Ebonbound Warlord to kill off his Xerxes. And hope to draw either Spiritcleave or Death Current next turn to help deal with whatever he's playing right now. Hope that he does not have a Death Current lined up that actually kills our Zarox, because if he does, we might not be able to pull this out. I have to be honest here. Given that his Iron Maiden... Ah, rats. He was lucky. Okay, we have a problem here, because what happens now is his Iron Maiden will definitely get 3 hits in. Okay, never mind. We couldn't have handled it anyways. His Iron Maiden will definitely get 3 hits in, because we're not going to be blocking it. We're just going to be shrinking it slightly. I'm not even going to risk playing Ignir here. I'm just going to be playing this Grimgaunt. So we really do need a removal spell next turn, because it's going to hit again this turn, and there's a removal spell, thankfully. So we can handle this Iron Maiden. I don't remember that he leveled more than 1. So we might be out of the woods for now. But the thing is, he also leveled another load of good cards against us right here. His own patrons and things like that. So... Oh, he's playing Ebonbound Warlord himself. Interesting. Good thing we also have this level 3 Xerxes to play. Another level... What happened there? Right. Oh yeah, he killed that and then Death Currented our dude. Okay, fine. So Spiritcleave here. Xerxes here. So next player level, we just really have to get lucky on the lineup of our leveled Death Current and leveled Spiritcleave. Thankfully, we did not draw them here. Well, given that we didn't go first, that doesn't really matter at all. Right, just dealing the damage. He had no reason to replace that card, given that there's no real replace cards in the format right now. And there is his 3rd Dire Hound. That's worth noting, meaning he cannot possibly have any more left in his deck. What we're going to do here is we're going to play this Patron, probably blocking the Dire Hound, then play Ebonbound Warlord, targeting his Patron, to shrink it far enough down that our Xerxes will actually live, even killing it. Right, so if he has Iron Maiden here, we need a removal spell. We don't have the removal spell. If he plays Iron Maiden, we're dead. Simple as that. We can just simply concede. Thankfully, he only has the 1 copy leveled. Don't think he has it, or otherwise he would have blocked our Xerxes with that card. And this double Patron hand is not entirely bad. And there it is. Yeah, we cannot come back from this. There is no possible scenario in which we do not die here. We're going to take 6, go down to 8, and we can't shrink it enough that we don't actually die. So, yeah. We can just show off the fact that we have these cards. If we had our Spiritcleave level 3, that would be ideal, but we did not. He got lucky before we did. The fault here was that we did not level enough Spiritcleaves. Not that it would matter, because we didn't draw a single one in this hand, but could have been good. Yeah, 1 turn late. And we'll just let him kill us here. So yeah, as I was mentioning, this meta is very much rock, paper, scissors. What we want to hit with this particular deck is just your average grow wide Utera X decks. Just anything that dies to a lot of mass removal is what we want to be facing. Because generally we have the better late game compared to that deck. And we also have plenty of tools to stem their early aggression. Especially cards like Epidemic and Patron of Tarsus. So we're going to play another couple of games, see how this fares. Yeah, there's this bug with the new game prompt that shows up multiple times, even when it's not supposed to be there. And hopefully this is not another leveling deck. It could very well be, but it could also simply be just a Utera Growwhite deck that happens to play Othra. So we're going to run out Ignir, because that's going to be good regardless, and then level a Zarox. I meant that in the other direction. Zarox is generally good. Ignir is a bit more conditional, but still a very good card at almost every point in the game. So it is a bit awkward here that we do not have any instant removal spells. So we might just suffer against any good blockers. Okay, this is definitely another leveling deck. We are in trouble. We are hitting the wrong end of the meta with this hand. A funny thing about Esperion Sage is that its leveling ability is not a forge trigger. So if you kill an Esperion Sage with a Xerxes, which works on level and underleveled, on the Sage that is, you actually get the level up trigger from the one you get to resurrect. So that is pretty cool. So what we want to do here is we probably need to trade with this. And then we're going to play a Xerxes because it's going to be very valuable later in the game. One could have argued that trading with an Ebonbound Warlord would have done more, but that's not what we're doing here. And thankfully, the Ignir actually hit a creature, so we get to trade here as well. Or not so much trade as actually just eat his Sage and be left with a 2/2 Zarox. So let's see what our opponent does here. Naka Christo. Like, it's easy for him to block our Ignir here, obviously, because no attack, 1 health, anything literally will kill it. Even a Krogius 1 would be a pretty ideal blocker right here. Whoops, there goes the line. Cool new feature inspired by the Hearthstone Burning Rope, but fitted to the fantasy, or science fantasy, I should say, realm of Soulforge via a receding line of electric light. If you want to call it that. Yeah. Good thought of my opponent to actually just replace his Sage, because he was literally gaining nothing from it still being alive. And we are just going to play 2 Xerxes in off lanes here. Because he'll likely be replacing his Killian, so there's really no point in blocking it. Because otherwise we just get to steal it. So that is really his only out right here. This next hand, we are most certainly just playing 2 Death Currents. That is really the only good play, the only good option we have. And we do want those cards leveled when we have to face off against Othra level 3. Oh, and luckily for us, he does play Esperion Sage. The thing is here, though, he needs to replace one of them. An Ambriel's Edict from him here would do a lot of work. So we hope that's not what he's going to play. It isn't. Okay, so either he replaces, like, whichever one, Killian or Sage, he doesn't replace here. Okay, never mind, he did play Edict. Okay, but we're still just playing Death Current, Death Current. It is far and away the best play. Especially because of this levels up. So Death Current and just discard the other one. Because none of our other plays make sense. Ebonskull Knight will just die immediately off its trigger. And Epidemic does as little as Death Current, but is not nearly as important to level. Okay, we draw our leveled Xerxes here. Which is nice. Can play it alongside Ignir or Varna or Patron of Tarsus. It's a pity we didn't see more Ignirs, because that is one of our better cards to have leveled in this particular matchup. And we did see Varnas, I believe, but not in a spot where they would have done much. And the thing is, we have no way to guarantee that we draw specific leveled cards. So, leveling cards like Varna and Ignir to try and see them in level 3 is a very brave proposition because, again, we have no guarantee. A strange interaction with this card and Xerxes is that usually, I believe, when you activate Xerxes to kill it, the card actually gets spawned before it gets killed. So, the trigger off of the Orient Justicar will affect itself once it gets resurrected by Xerxes. Not quite sure how that is still a part of the rules engine, but I am not one to question programming because that is not one of my skills. Here's a Dendrify, which is a nice combo with Orient Justicar. And an Ambriel. Interesting. Well, at least there is absolutely no way that he can ever make that work, as long as that Krogius is still on the board. What we're doing here is we're going to play that to trade here and shrink that Ambriel. Get a battle. And play Ignir in front of the Ambriel, which cannot move. Hopefully, okay, that was perfect. It was hopefully either going to hit the Ambriel or the face. Hitting a Krogius with an Ignir is just such a pity, because it really does not do anything. It is kind of unfortunate that the matchups we're facing to showcase this deck are the worst ones in the meta, pretty much, but it is how it is. He levels another Dendrify here. Very smartly done by him. And plays another Krogius. Hopefully this Death Current hits the Krogius that's actually blocking. Because that is definitely the card we're playing. Level 3 Death Current is very powerful. And all of our other plays are quite embarrassing. Pretty much. Usually what I would do if this was a tournament situation, I'd be counting the amount of finishers on a notepad that he's leveling to see exactly what I'm going to be facing late game. But in the end, it really makes up only the tiniest of differences because I'm generally going to want to level, especially Spiritcleave, regardless of what I'm going to face. And it's actually an interesting dilemma whether I'm going to be leveling Spiritcleave, one of these Death Currents, or the Xerxes this turn, because if there's one thing worse than not having the removal for his threats in level 3 and forward, it's not having the threats to actually race him. I do need a combination of both. The thing is, with removal, I can win. Without removal, I can win if he gets unlucky. Without threats, I can't win at all, regardless of his luck. So, we do really need to prioritize leveling, again, especially Spiritcleave, because we can actually guarantee that that will hit the biggest creature on the board, which will usually be whatever he is trying to kill us with. So we're going to do this, because neither of our creatures did much anyways. And since the board is clear, I'm going to run the risk of leveling this Xerxes. It may not be the best of plans, but it's what we're going to do here. Hopefully he does not land a Krogius immediately. Or an Othra or whatever. Othra is not nearly as bad, actually, because you can just fill up 3 lanes to keep an Othra 3 blocked for a turn. And it will generally only kill 1 creature. And then you can just focus your removal on it the turn after. So ideally what's going to happen here is that he plays some sort of level 2 creature, and he does, and maybe blocks to kill this. Well, Energy Prison doesn't do too much. Especially because this is just going to die to, well, I guess it was a level 1 copy anyways. So yes, this was exactly what we wanted. So what's going to happen here is we play... Actually, I'm not so sure anymore. Oh, never mind. Because we actually get to activate both of these first. Yeah, I would play Zarox first, but the thing is that he gets shrink by Xerxes as well. So what we might want to do... I should have done that first. Never mind. I'm going to play this. And then we're going to play Zarox and Ignir. Fill the board so that Othra is not as big of a threat. Do battle. Then hopefully draw a removal spell, so we'll be covered if he plays something amazing. And we did. So we have another turn where we can actually survive a double Krogius if that is what it comes to. Which is very, very good. So I believe I have another level 2 Death Current and a level 2 Spiritcleave available. But that is all. Okay, I heard the sound of something being played, but I didn't see anything being actually played. At the same time, we get to level this level 3 Ignir, which is quite amazing. Okay, and he plays an Ambriel's Edict. This is not what we want to see. Because now we've skipped out on our best removal spell, and we have not yet to see one of his big threats. So I could play a bigger Xerxes here, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play this Warlord to level it. Because that is going to be far more important, and then play this Ignir. Also, in order to actually get more damage into his face this turn. Because that 10 armor will take quite a bit to work through. Oh, okay, we did draw the Spiritcleave, though, so a single copy of Krogius and we'll still be good. Now, what would really be tragic is if he draws the Krogius next turn. Next turn, we will be weak. We can draw our single copy of our last copy of level Death Current, which might do some work. Alright, so there's a Spiritcleave target if he doesn't have Krogius. Alright, there's our Spiritcleave target. So we actually get to Spiritcleave this, level another Spiritcleave, deal 28 to him. And once again, hopefully dodge Krogius plays. Discard this. Alright, so hopefully we will draw our second Death Current here. We do not. So now is when we are at our most vulnerable. Because our board position is not amazing, and we do not have the removal spell to immediately deal with. There it is, Krogius 3. Hopefully he doesn't have 2 copies, because then we are screwed in every sense of the word. What's going to happen here is that I'm going to discard this other Spiritcleave and play a Xerxes. No, I'm not even going to have to discard it. I can actually just kill his Killian. Okay, so we're going to kill Killian with a Spiritcleave, and we now have a bevy of leveled removal spells that can take out this Krogius for next turn when we actually reshuffle. So hope to get lucky on our next draw. Come on, this is important. Go deck. Here we are. Yes, that will do it. That will certainly do it. We have all the cards we need to actually get back ahead on the board. Unless he has double Krogius, which would probably be a disaster no matter what happened. But even then, we might actually be able to handle it. Okay, he has an Othra. Does he have another incredible threat to play? Hopefully not. He does not. That is great. We'll just double Spiritcleave and be on our merry way. Right here. We could gamble on a Death Current, but that is just not worth it. Okay, kill the Othra. Kill the Krogius. Shrink the Justicar. And battle. Once again, we are left without removal. So another Krogius would still be really bad. This is an intense matchup that usually pans out something like this and then gets taken by the leveling deck once I brick on removal for a sufficient amount of turns, because these removal spells that I have are just completely reactive at all times. Like, I would not mind him playing an Othra here, interestingly, because I can actually shrink its attack by 11 so that its ability would actually not do anything. And a Defender Xerxes when he's... I believe he has 1 Edict left, if that even. So, a Defender Xerxes is still a very, very viable threat on a board like this. What we can do here is play Grimgaunt Devourer. So he actually discarded his second card here. We're going to play Grimgaunt Devourer. It might have been a... Now we're going to play Ebonbound Warlord, kill this Justicar, block the other one. Actually, might as well shrink them all first. Boom. Yeah, it might have been a the double level Allied Utera card that he just didn't have the target for. Experience Age is the one. Okay, so the good thing here is that he does not have... I do not have an active attacker right here. So he can't play a Krogius and kill a guy and just, yeah, get that kill for free. That is not possible for him right here. So what's going to happen right now is we are just going to play, I believe, Death Current Xerxes. Just get some board position. And we are definitely going to shrink this tree because we want to have it dead in order to grow our Devourer. And it's not going to do anything with negative 17 attack anyway. And here's our level 4 Ignir. That is very, very good. It is not as good against Krogius as I want it to be. However, ooh, we're close though. We can almost kill a level 3 Krogius with just what we have. And that might do it, actually. Yeah, we have exactly enough to actually straight up kill this Krogius. That is pretty amazing. With double Ignir activation, with double Xerxes activation, Ignir trigger, plus the Ebonbound Warlord, we straight up have enough to kill this Krogius. Yeah, and it will have to be that, because we do not have... even the 24 damage is not enough to kill him, because he will gain 8 health from this attack. Oh, now we're in trouble. Now we certainly are in trouble. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll play this here, block damage, shrink this so we actually get to steal it with Xerxes, and then play Ignir. And then battle, nab his guy, and then Ignir up. Yeah, it would have been enough with the second Xerxes activation. So the thing is here, we are just dealing 19 damage to this because he'll gain the health straight back from the Ignir trigger. So we might actually be able to pull this off just by racing with his Ignir, if we're lucky. Really depends what he plays right now. If he plays another Krogius in front of our Ignir, that is where we might not be able to pull it back, because this hand contains no spot removal. But even then, Xerxes activation plus Ignir damage plus the trigger from the new Ignir will actually be enough to kill a second Krogius. And the Xerxes activation plus an Ebonbound Warlord will be enough to kill this current Krogius. So, alright, I have no problem with that. That is actually very positive for us. Because this means that he can't just block our Ignir and gain value that way. Alright then, he plays that. So, what matters here is that we block enough damage to not die to this. So we need a lot, actually. And we probably have to do it after battling, just so we can actually kill the Justicar as well. And the Zothra is going to be a problem too. This is not a good situation. If I play this, that's 17 damage prevented. We only take 18. I'm afraid we can't do enough to the Zothra to actually kill it. But we have 38 off of Ignir. So, actually, we're only doing 17 to the Krogius this way. 7 to the Krogius. He goes to 38. That is enough to kill him off of our Ignirs. So, if these triggers work out the way I think they will... Oh, actually, we actually get to steal his Krogius. That's pretty neat. So, yeah, he is just exactly dead from Ignir triggers. Huh, this was a close one, boys. Wow. Wow, what a game. Wow, we fought off like 3 or 4, 5 copies of Krogius 3, 2 Othras, and we ended up winning off our level 4 Forgeborn. So yeah, this is the power of Ignir, and of, yeah, see, it pops up twice. Once that we actually already ignored, and once that pops up after the game. Whew, that was intense, boys and girls. That was a game. Okay, yeah, might as well. Let's, take a short break and just open these packs. And I plan to play one more game. Dreadbolt, not bad, not bad. The rest of the cards, Bride of Frankenbaum, cool joke. Sharpbound Invoker, one of the cards that I played in my Brute Queen deck. Okay, let's see what we got. Defense Spire. Looks a lot like Nexus Core. I could have mistaken those two. Looks sort of... It's the middle of a city. Defense Spire. Each friendly creature gets armor 6 this turn. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, and Stasis Indexer. That is way too much text to read out here. Okie dokie. That's that. Right, let's play another game. Teenage Mutant Requiem Tempest. No copyright. Join. Nice flashing logo. Sweet loading thing. You can't see this, but I was highlighting it with my cursor. Of course, that is not visible in this version. Okay, I was not expecting Xerxes to do that much work. And Energy Prison on Xerxes really, really was bad for him. Because that meant that I just had this effect that is really, really solid against his deck. Didn't end up mattering that much, but it is really bad for him when that's what he's forced to do. And defending on Ignir especially, because that means that he will get to trigger again. No matter how he blocks it. And because Dendrify overloads, if the game goes really long, I'm going to be the one with the removal. And the Spiritcleave 3 is actually going to keep me alive. So in the sort of level 3, 4, 5 phase of the game, he should be ahead with his power plays. But post that, I have the more inevitability with Ignir triggers and just a load of removal spells and level 3 Ebonbound Warlords and Xerxes and all that stuff. So Scarol is not currently doing anything. Let us hope that he actually connected to the game. It will save me a lot of editing if I don't have to actually remove this game from the video. Please, Scarol, do please connect. Okay, since we can't lose any blips at this point, I'm actually just going to concede and start a new game. For the sake of the video. You got your way, Scarol. It will not happen again. See, this is what happens. Should have waited 2 more seconds, and I could have just gotten the prompt and used that instead. Okay, let's try this instead. Ignir is higher priority than Zarox. He's at least the more powerful card. And Zarox is not very good on an empty board. Zarox, you want to play Zarox on a board where you are guaranteed to get like 2 triggers immediately, or more. Much like with Grimgaunt Devourer. You want trades to happen immediately. He's also a very good blocker for low health creatures with not a lot of attack. Here, I foresee a Patron of Tarsus into Varna play, because most likely he'll be blocking our Ignir. If it's something with 5 health, it will be ideal. That will likely have 6 health, unfortunately. It's been a long time since I played against this deck with my current deck. Okay, never mind. It will just be a straight-up trade. I do not mind that. Okay, so instead of the Patron, we're actually just going to play this Devourer. And trying to get ahead in the game that way. So I'm going to trade, and I'm going to go Varna. Okay, we are opening ourselves up to Chaos Twister, but we know that he cannot play that card. So, it's not as big of an issue. And here we have the elusive double Patron hand. Okay, so our Devourer is going to die, which is unfortunate, because that was going to do very well along with our double Patron. And our Ignir is going to die as well. Okay, double Patron is not as good as I'd hoped right here. But it is still the only really good play we have. No point in blocking these guys, the Ruthless Wanderers. That is just not what we want to do. Okay, the tooltips are working again. They weren't last I was playing. We do want to block this. Like, Restless Wanderers... Ruthless Wanderers, this is Restless Wanderers. Ruthless Wanderers is the one that we want to kill on a block. Not while it's still on the defensive. That is something we just want to skip. Oh, alright, still leveled 2 patrons, so that is quite good. This next turn, probably Devour plus Ignir. Epidemic doesn't really make sense on the current board. Okay, that's pretty good. What does he target? Probably a Ruthless Wanderers. Yep. Spawns in the same lane, thankfully. That makes everything much simpler. Right. So we'll want to play this here. And Ignir somewhere else. Probably here. Try to set up a trade. Because we get to kill 3 creatures immediately, so this actually grows quite substantially. I wish this had been a Zarox. This was the perfect time to play it, with a 2 health creature on the offensive on the opponent's side. And we did not kill anything with the Ignir, which is unfortunate. I would have really wanted to hit this Restless Wanderers. Since that is not a possibility at this point, I'm going to be satisfied with what I have. This creature does not get very big, which is always good. Yeah, and he's going to get 2 Wanderer triggers this turn, likely. Because he's probably going to be playing 2 different Wanderers. Yep. So, once again, our Devourer is just dead. It's very close to living, but it will not live, in fact. Yep, it is dead. Okay. So we could make a play where this actually survives. It's not optimal, but I do not really want to trade my Ignir at this point. So I would rather do... And see, I don't really have a lot of good spots to play this Ignir. 2 creatures are likely going to die this turn, so this will survive 2 triggers from this, and will actually be forced to trade with it. Yeah, there we go. That is actually perfect. Actual perfect. Literal perfect. Because the Varna is probably going to bite the dust off of this Wanderers, if he has 2 Wanderer plays. Which he will usually have. Like, I'm assuming he's playing all 9 Wanderers. Yeah, these are just growing out of hand. I wish I could draw more Spiritcleaves. And Echoes. Okay, so these actually trade. That's very good for me. Yeah, I'm taking a load of damage from these guys. Okay, so first things first, we play Death Current. Hope to hit well. We hit very well, in fact. And we're going to battle. And then we're just going to play Varna as a blocker to this guy. Get our Ignir back. Hope to hit a good target. Oh, we hit the perfect target. Okay, we are actually doing this. This is actually getting somewhere. Because now this guy is possibly too big for him to even handle. Yeah, this is not what he wants to be doing against a card like this. Because it will not be big enough for this to actually live through it. Okay, yeah. So what happens here is we play Ebonbound Warlord, shrink this, and probably chump block this. Now, okay, never mind. This Ignir is not going to survive, so we're just going to play this, kill this one instead. Kill it. Battle. Let this grow quite a bit more. And block with this Ignir. Hopefully hit this with the trigger. We did not. This is the second best by far. Because we still want that thing off the table. At some point. It might be awkward for him to actually deal with this Devourer still. He will... If he has his other level 2 Ruthless Wanderers, that will help him. But he did not draw that. And he's gonna blink this, of course. Yeah, it's pretty much a blink effect. Like, straight out of Magic. Oh, nice. He plays that card. That makes a lot of sense from his perspective. Right. So we have Patron of Tarsus. The thing is, we do want to level this Death Current right here, but that's probably not the best option. So instead, I'm just going to play Patron and then Ebonskull Knight to trade with his Wanderers. With his Restless Wanderers, that is. Because we could battle and then Death Current, but I just see no reason to take the additional 23 damage right here. So, the board is actually empty, and we're not doing too terribly. We did level 2 Ignirs. We did not draw a good hand right here. It's a very good thing that we went first this game, because this hand can actually handle a level 2 hand. With this Death Current, especially. We also got to level a Varna to level 3, which is a very, very big thing. Plays Dizzy's Siphon. Alright, that does nothing. So he basically wasted a turn, which matches very well with how we are going to waste a turn right here. Just get a second 9/7 Death Current, his guy. Battle. And okay, another not very good turn. You see, in the deck we have tons of good draws. We have our Warlord, Devourer, Varna, and Ignirs, and a Patron too. And we even have a Patron level 2, which is a very good underdrop as well. Like, Patron level 1 is generally not very good, regardless of when you draw it. But level 2 Patron is always good. It usually corresponds to the power level of an Ebonbound Warlord level 2. And the level 3 is actually better than the Ebonbound Warlord level 3. Okay, so we have an easy Spiritcleave target, and then we can just play this Ebonskull Knight. So once again, he had a very, very underwhelming turn. But that's generally the thing with these Spirit Wanderer decks, that when they do not have a board position, they tend to fall behind very quickly because they can only play 2 Wanderers per turn, which means that they only get 1 actual Wanderer trigger per turn. And this I don't actually mind because we have this Ignir that will trigger to kill it, to kill one of them at least. So the question is how we handle the other one. Probably just Death Current. Like, I would want to level this Varna, but we're so far ahead. Well, it doesn't even matter. We have lethal. Like, this plus the Ignir trigger will kill him. So, you could have just shown off and showed the Varna, but yeah, this is the easy way to do it. Yeah, but I can see I've been going for like 45 minutes here, and that matches up very well with how long the previous video was. So, I am just going to cut it here. As you saw, this is a deck with a lot of range. We actually beat a level deck that drew as it was supposed to do. He did miss a few draws, but usually that happened on the same turn that we would have been able to use our removal spells. So that's generally what happens. Like, removal, you have to draw it on time. And we only did for, I believe, 1 or 2 turns out of the 5 to 7 actual big threats he played. But we won on the back of Ignir and Xerxes, more or less. Some unfortunate energy prison plays from him meant that he did not have the ability to actually block our best threats. And he also played at least 2 Krogiases in front of our defender, not in front of our defender Xerxes, even though he had the option and wasn't blocking anything else. So, some misplays there. We lost the first leveling deck because Iron Maiden is really the card we do not want to see. We cannot just block it. Shrinking it usually doesn't do enough because its trigger still works exactly as they want it to, and it just kills faster than any of the other large threats. But then again, it does skip 2 levels, which neither of the other ones do. The other ones being Othra and Nova, Ignir, and Krogius, of course, and Scorchbane Dragon, I guess. Like all these amazing level 3 or 4 threats. But yeah, and as you saw in the last game, that was basically a version of the Utera Grow White deck that really capitalizes on, if they have like 2 creatures on the board, all of their plays thereafter will not only be good plays in of themselves, they will also strengthen the board position they already have. And as soon as we actually got around to clearing his board, he did not have the tools to get that board position back because besides being removal spells in their own right, most of the creatures we play are big enough to brawl on level. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Build NT. This was with the new client and set 7. We did not include any set 7 cards, but that is because none of them really fit in the deck. The next episode will, of course, be next time a new card release happens, because then we can see new things in the meta, or if I feel like it, and I've made some changes to the list since last time. So, with all that said, thank you for watching. Go check out my Twitch channel. I'll be streaming a bit more now that the new client is out. Go follow me on Twitter at Zwaxor, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and like the video if you liked it. So I will see you all next time. Bye!